Over the last few years, there's been a debate going on about Jiren's power when he overcame Hit's Cage of Time technique. Personally, this bothered me, and I'm wondering if you guys felt similar. But the problem for me wasn't the concept of Jiren overpowering Hit because he's vastly stronger, but it was a certain statement made in episode 111 that bothered me. It was Vados that started the debate amongst fans when she stated, Jiren possesses power enough to transcend even time. When you think about the statement, you start to actually realize how vague it is. What does this statement actually mean? What does it mean to transcend time? And what does it mean in the context of Dragon Ball Super? Should we take it at face value, or were the writers oversimplifying a concept that is really more complex? And I want to thank Dragon's Roar for suggesting this video, and if you want to get involved in the discussion,
stay tuned.
To summarise what happened, Hit kept using his time skip against Jiren to accumulate time so he could slip into an alternate space while leaving behind a phantom image of himself. Then Hit confined Jiren to a cage of time with a special punch, which is a dimension Hit created, and froze Jiren in a state of suspended time with all the time skips acting together at once. Jiren wasn't supposed to be able to move at all because the time skips prevent any movement in any direction. However, after a matter of seconds, Jiren's sheer power allowed him to move in this suspended time state, and he broke through the time dimension using his sheer power by the mechanism of a Ki Eyes attack. Remember what Shin used against Majin Buu from my recent video? Yeah, well, here's a more awesome example. Jiren raised his ki using a Ki Yell and then expelled that ki through a Ki Eyes attack to forcefully break out of Hit's altered dimension. Here's a question for you guys. What if Jiren being stronger than Hit caused all of the chain time skips to become vastly shorter than what Hit expected, just like the manga says with Goku vs Hit, and this led to Jiren breaking out much earlier than Hit expected? Hit was struggling to hold Jiren, so he decided to end the fight with one final blow. The chain time skips expired, and this factor amongst others also helped Jiren to escape suddenly. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. So was the main reason Jiren overcame Hit due to Jiren possessing power greater than time itself? If we take it at face value, then yes, and you can argue that Vados would be honest about Hit, who was Universe 6's best warrior. But this creates logical problems with Jiren's power. Perhaps the writers were oversimplifying the scene without thinking it through. Now I'm going to ask you a series of questions that will help our discussion, and I want you to answer them. Here's our hypothesis. For Jiren's power to transcend time, he must have power above time itself. Question 1. Is Jiren omnipresent throughout the timeline? Meaning, does Jiren exist through every time period, past, present and future? No. Question 2. Can Jiren time travel at will? No. Question 3. Does Jiren exist in multiple points in the timeline simultaneously? No. Question 4. Can Jiren's abilities change the past history of his timeline? No. Question 5. Can Jiren see the events of the future ahead or the past before he was born, and can he change them? No. So, how has he transcended time? Jiren certainly isn't the Zeno, and even Zeno doesn't have the ability to exist simultaneously in each moment of existence. There is only one Zeno per timeline. It's only the true God that made heaven, space and our earth that can do that. In Psalm 90 verse 4, the Bible says, "For 1,000 years in your sight are but as yesterday when it is past, or as a watch in the night." And in Mark 13 verse 31 it says, "Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will by no means pass away." Also 2 Peter 3:8 says, "With the Lord a day is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years are like a day." The eternity of God is contrasted with the temporality of man, and in this case Jiren. Our lives are short and frail, but God does not weaken or fail with the passage of time. God's perspective on time is far different from us. If 1000 years are interchangeable with a day, then time truly is in God's hands and he is above time. The only beings that have some control over time in the Dragon Ball universe seem to be the angels, and they can only rewind time briefly. Personally, I don't think Jiren could withstand the effects of an angel's time rewind once initiated, and I don't think he could stop an angel. The angels are arguably only on the cusp of 4-dimensional power. Jiren was way too strong for Hit to hold in the time cage, and it's evident that it was clearly tied to Hit's strength, as he states his power is used to maintain it. Jiren didn't literally beat the concept of time, rather this is an instance where either the character or the writers have no idea what the words they're using actually mean. In my opinion, Jiren did nothing that transcended time. He simply negated a time manipulation ability because he was just that strong. In order to transcend time, one would have to be eternal and unchanging. The passage of time would have no effect on them, whereas Jiren can be observed at position A at time X and position B at time Y, so he operates well within the boundaries of time. Interestingly, in the DC comics well before Dragon Ball Super's release, there was an instance where Superman did pretty much the same feat as Jiren. Now, I don't know DC at all guys, but I hope I'm not misquoting it. Anyways, what happened was, a character tried to freeze Superman in time using something called chrono suspension, which is basically stopping time for only Superman and freezing him completely still. The ability was represented like ice, and Hit's time skip sometimes looks like ice too. Clearly, Superman can resist time manipulation as he feels himself slowing down, but didn't completely freeze in time, whereas any usual person would have. But based on the 5 questions I previously mentioned, does this mean Superman has 4-dimensional power? In my opinion, no. Superman and Jiren don't have 4-dimensional power because they're still limited to the concept of time. As we saw in the earlier questions, Jiren isn't a lord over time. What Vados seems to mean is that Jiren can resist time manipulation and move in suspended time through his sheer power and determination. In the manga version, Vados makes no mention of Jiren's power transcending time, and once Hit was eliminated, he stated himself that he underestimated Jiren. Why would Hit say that if he knew Jiren could transcend time itself, where he would have never had any chance? This leads me to believe that Toriyama may not have outlined Jiren to be called the being who was above time. What it really seems to come down to is that Jiren wins because he's much stronger than Hit. In other words, Jiren beat Hit because he was stronger, and being stronger than the level of Hit's time control means he can transcend Hit's control of time. Even though Hit's Cage of Time technique is more advanced than the time skip, we already know from earlier that the time skip was only effective against fighters near his level or lower, according to the manga. Because Goku was stronger than Hit, the time skip grew shorter and shorter and was ineffective. Even when Hit went full power, Goku powered up into Super Saiyan Blue and the time skip wasn't effective once again. It's that classic Dragon Ball formula in play again, where you can beat all your opponent's hacks if you're stronger than them. This is mostly the case in Dragon Ball. Had this same technique been used by someone way stronger than Jiren's max power, Jiren would have been trapped in the time prison with little chance of liberating himself. Another point that people make is Jiren is infinitely fast, or faster than time, and that's how he was able to overcome Hit's time cage. They evidence how the time skip was ineffective against Dispo because of his incredible speed, and whilst he did raise his speed thousands of times for a millisecond, Dispo did so to avoid the time skip, not overpower it. Dispo was a rare exception in Dragon Ball where someone had incredible speed but their strength didn't match up with it. Dispo wasn't as physically strong as Hit, merely much faster than Hit could anticipate. Jiren is undoubtedly much faster than Dispo, as in Dragon Ball, if you're stronger, your speed usually is drastically increased too. But overcoming Hit's time cage is different from the time skip. It wasn't a speed feat alone, but to do with Jiren's immense raw power, which gives increased speed too. However, interestingly in the manga version, Jiren's victory was all about him showing immense speed to overcome the time lag technique, which is also down to him being stronger as well. I hope this video has been informative, entertaining and helpful. I know it's a confusing topic, so let's discuss it down in the comments section below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what you think went down in that episode. And also I want to thank Dragon's Roar for suggesting this video once again. And also guys, if you missed it, check out this video up here I did on Hit's time skip ability explained, the technique he used. So definitely go check out that video if you want more clarification on that important and incredible technique in Dragon Ball Super. Thanks guys for watching, and if you enjoyed it, please that like button and definitely subscribe to expand your knowledge of Dragon Ball and get coverage of Super. And lastly, check out the other videos of mine on the end screen and you're gonna help Universe 7 rank higher. Thanks, Kai Kai!